The clean girl vibe is so yesterday. Today I'm going to show you how to get an updated Y2K editorial look. Y2K 2.0 allows us to look back while adding a modern twist. And as if that's not enough, I'm going to show you how I got this amazing eye look with this Viseart Aqua Lisa Says Gar palette. I'm using it for the first time. Makeup lovers, this way. I'm going to show you what the original Y2K looked like at the time and how it's different in 2026. And the star of this show is going to be this beautiful Viseart Aqua Lisa Says Gar palette. I've never used a Viseart palette before, but I do love really bright colours. I'm probably going to use these greens, this bottom row here. I put in my Hanix coloured contact lenses. These are Oasis Olive. And I'm going to try and match my Y2K 2.0 eyeshadow look to my new eye colour. I've done my skin prep. I have used my Tatcha under eye brightener, which doesn't really brighten under eye circles, but it is quite light, so I like to wear that. And then I use my Dr. Sabag Exo C serum, which is a vitamin C booster. And then I followed it up with the Medicate Advanced Night Cream. I have very dry skin, so I use it during the day too, which I don't know if that's helpful or not, but that was about half an hour ago. So, foundation. I am going to mix my Maybelline Lumi Matte with a little bit of Road Glazing Milk. This is a tip that I picked up from a Hailey Bieber video. Y2K was all about matte foundation, but actually, although we've left clean girl behind and shiny faces aren't really the thing, you can try and get a bit of the matte look with a little bit of a glow, which instantly brings it into 2026. Just one pump and a little splash of glazing milk. Take a foundation brush, mix it on the back of your hand. You can start to see it, how it's sort of matte but glowy. So that goes on first. I'm deliberately mixing high-end, mid-range and affordable products because you can decide what you want to spend your money on. There are some products that you don't need to splurge on, and some it's better if you do, and you can decide which one is best for you. It's quite matte, but it has a little bit of a glow, which instantly updates it. I'm wearing my Y2K original Versus diffusion line, which was the fashion line that Gianni Versace invented for Donatella. So I still have this dress. For brows, there was a mix of big fluffy eyebrows and the very, very thin Kate Moss eyebrows. In 2003, I think I did actually get mine plucked. And a lot of people commented that they thought I'd had a facelift because like my eyebrows were like up here. But thankfully they did grow back and I've never even been tempted to do that again. I'm going to fill in a few gaps. There's one there. The cycle of eyebrows is quite funny. Sometimes I have gaps and sometimes I don't. And sometimes I have gaps in one area and then it swaps to another area. This is probably my only mid-range eyebrow product. You can actually get just as good products in the drugstore as you can on any high-end stand. But I have this, so I might as well use it. NYX Brow Glue, just to prove a point. It is quite gloopy, but it keeps everything in place. So onto this little thing. Let me just swatch these for you. This is the top row. Forgive me, I'm so bad at swatching. Beautiful blending colours here, and this shimmery pink, metallic pink, and this amazing orange, which I'm going to use in a look at some point, but not today because I want to do my green. But that's the top row. They don't have colours, they're just labelled shades 1, 2, 3 and 4 on the back of the box. And also just to mention, there isn't a mirror on the palette, but it's quite reasonably priced. I think it was like £34 with a bit of shipping. The formulas are feeling good. The second row, this is shade 5, 6, 7 and 8. These are much more dramatic. 2 mattes, and I think that's a shimmer, and that is a duochrome. It shifts from blue to pink and to purple actually. So that's the first row, that's the second row. And these are my greens that I'm going to use today. I mean, I simply cannot. There's a beautiful matte, couple of shimmers, and this beautiful highlighter shade. So these are shades 9, 10, 11 and 12. And just look at that. I can't wait to get this on my eyes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. I don't have any concealer on my eyes, but I'm going to start with a little bit of this Lisa Eldridge liquid eyeshadow, which is a sort of grey green. Just going to throw it on, just to provide a bit of a base for the eyeshadow that I'm about to apply. Now I must say this is my interpretation of Y2K 2.0, so don't come for me if I get anything wrong. It's basically what I can achieve with my skills and what suits me. And what I'm trying for is a wearable version with a nod to the past, but I don't want to look as if I am living in the past, especially as I'm a little older than some people, and I just don't want people to think that I haven't changed my makeup since the 2000s. To give myself an outline and give my crease some definition, I'm going to use this colour here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, colour number 7. I'm just going to take it lightly and draw it into my crease. It's just going to give me a little depth. It's just a little outline that's going to help the delicious sparkly shadow that I'm about to throw all over my lid. It's barely there, but it's there. Now I'm going to take this colour here and I'm going to apply it like I used to, and then see if I can then transform it into a more modern look. This is the perfect palette for a nod back to the past, but staying firmly in the future. I'm now starting to understand why people rave about the Viseart. The formulas are easy to apply, creamy, pigmented. Now this flat packer brush is very useful because if you've got hooded eyes like me, you don't want that dip where your lid folds down over your eyes. You want to draw a soft line straight across. Looking straight ahead, you fill in that annoying triangle, and that will help to lift your eyes. Now I'm going to try this colour here, just in the centre, for maximum effect. Now this is probably the perfect original Y2K look. So now my plan is to update it and make it look a little bit more grounded and a little bit more 2026. How am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to take this dark brown, pop it on the outer corner, just on the outer V. I have to say, I'm not trying very hard to blend this. They sort of blend themselves, even though that brown is a much deeper matte than the sparkly green. It sort of blends itself, which is always a result. Then I'm going to take a little bit of this deep green and pop that over the brown. Taking a very small pencil brush, I'm going to just drag this on my lower lash line. And then I'm going to take the brown on the same brush, just slightly clean it off, and just put a little bit on the outside. Soft blend. not moving it too much because it actually is in the perfect position. Just soften the edges slightly. I literally can't deal with these eyes. Cool. I must tell you about these earrings. They are original Y2K. I remember seeing them on the front cover of Vogue years and years and years and years ago, obviously. And I literally combed the whole of London to try and find these. And I eventually found them in a stall on the King's Road, the famous King's Road. And they cost probably more than a week's rent. But I just had to have them. It was when I was young and thought everything would be okay, no matter what I did with my money. And I've still got them. And I've got them on today. Now I need to ground this look a little bit. So what I'm going to do is take this very, very dark brown here on the tiniest brush that I have. I don't want to do a liner. I just want a little bit of this darker shadow to ground the look a little bit more. It's literally the tiniest line on the lash line. It's not even trying to be a liner. It's just trying to thicken up the base of my eyelashes. But already that feels much more modern than what we used to wear way back when. I'm just going to quickly do my lashes and then I'll be back. There we go, mascara done. I will leave all the products that I've used in the description box down below, but just so that you know, I used the Essence White Primer, which is amazing for my poor sparse lashes, and the L'Oreal Telescopic. And then on my bottom lashes, which are very fine and hard to get to, I use this MAC Giga Lash, which has a really tiny wand, and I find that really helpful. Now I haven't used any under eye concealer, have you noticed? Do I need it? I don't need a white triangle, but I think that my Lumi Matte with the Rode actually has given me a nice soft coverage that I don't really want to mess with. I'll just do a tiny little bit of Natasha Denona just here. Just to brighten up that area. Just going to leave it not terribly blended in. Just going to let it do its thing. And then the idea is to create a fresh face for these eyes to sit on, rather than make it too curated and tailored. Right, cheeks next. I think the best way to make sure that this doesn't look like you're living in the past is to keep your cheeks fresh but defined. So I'm going to use my Toasted Teddy. Although it's a blush, I'm using it as a bronzer. Now for me, Y2K was really about lilac highlighter, and I am going to try this Gucci. I don't want a see me from space look, but I do want my cheekbones to frame my eyes, because my eyes are going to be the hero of this look. This is a weird formula actually. I'm having to use a very old Real Techniques, quite firm brush. They call it the Expert Face Brush. But I find that with a soft brush, this doesn't pick up very well. See? Now I was going to use a little bit of this Westman Atelier, which is this colour, but I actually think the Frosty Lilac goes better with the green. So, not this time. Just going to put a little bit of this Prada pencil on my lower lash line, just to bring out a little bit more of that green. It's in the shade 07 Menta, which I think is menthol. It's kind of like a mentholy green. Then I'll just finish tapping out my concealer, and I think I'm ready for a lip. So the Y2K lip was kind of very, very dark outlines with that sort of that crusty matte unalive look, which I'm going to try and recreate without the crusty and the unalive. Right, there's two different ways of doing this. There's the higher end look that I can achieve with these Yves Saint Laurent products, but I'm going to try this affordable version, I think. I might take it off if I don't like it, but let's give it a go. So this is the Maybelline Lifter Liner in On It. Let's see what happens when I add this Sephora 02, which smells of something quite sweet and sickly. It's not terrible. I don't know if I like that. I'm not very good with nudes because of my undertone. I think it's kind of okay, and I might actually try some of the YSL. This is the YSL Lip Plumping Lip Oil Gloss in 02. Yeah, that's a bit better, I think. I think I may have to reach for a little bit of a really old favourite, the NYX Buttermelt blush in My Butter. I think this is My Butter Half. Yeah, in My Butter Half. And I'm going to give myself a very careful swipe, very careful, gentle swipe, just to bring a little bit of life to my face. And always test it on the back of your hand, especially when you've got to this stage of your makeup. You do not want to ruin it. You see, that's better. I feel better about that. I think that's quite cool. I think that's brought a little bit of life to my face. Good old NYX. So there we go. I hope you've enjoyed this. Do let me know what you do to make your Y2K 2.0 look work, or whether you just can't be bothered and just don't care. I'd say that the Viseart palette is a real success. So minimal blending, I can't believe it. It's absolutely brilliant. I'm going to try this again using the different colours, and because there are 12, you're going to see quite a lot of this. Anyway, let me know what you think. Do like and subscribe if it takes your fancy, and hopefully I will see you again soon.